All right, everybody, what is going on? How y'all doing? And welcome to today's edition of SWAC Talk. Of course, this is the show we cover the SWAC inside and out. And I'm your tour guide around the SWAC. C Wells coming at you. And we gonna I did this a little bit last year before the start of the season and before my season previews. So I'm gonna do it now. And it's gonna just kind of be um a question or a thought about each team leading up to the season. You know, some of this obviously cannot be answered until the end of the season. Some of it can be answered, you know, almost immediately. But so I decided to do this, and what better way to start it off than to start off with one of the top names returning in the SWAC. Guy kind of polarizing the SWAC sphere a little bit, depending on how you look at, you know, your thoughts on him as a player. Um, and that's Andrew Body, ex TSU quarterback, now Alabama State quarterback. Um, Bama State getting a lot of gonna probably be getting a lot of attention and love in this upcoming season. So I wanted to go ahead and share my thoughts, not necessarily on um, anything up or down about him because you know if you watch any show I do, Spill the Swag Smoke, then you know what side of the fence I ride with. You know, I'm a part of the body fam. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you, but I always try to look at things from different angles and just this is not this is just my thoughts on what where I think he's at now and where what I want to see and what I expect to see in the upcoming season. So before we get into it, man, y'all make sure y'all hit the socials: Facebook is Swag Talk, Instagram Swag Talk, Twitter Swag Talk 76. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and comment. You know, like I said, this is one of those topics that get a lot of comments on Swag Smoke. So I wanted to bring it here and just have some fun, chop it up. Nothing, nothing serious. You know, it's all love, it's all fun, and so we're gonna go with it like that. So basically, um, Alabama State had an opening at quarterback. Andrew Body was looking for a home, and those two met and married. And I feel like at least at this point, I feel like it's a good situation for both sides. You got a Bama State team looking to find some offense. The last couple of years, the offense just hasn't really been where it is. And then you got a guy in Andrew Body who is looking for a different situation. This is a team who last season won 7 games. The year before won 6. They have a great defense. I'm not sure if the defense is going to be on the level that it was last year, but they're still going to be a very good defense. So you got that going for you, and it's a blank slate to kind of start fresh for both sides. Um, just looking back on who he was as a player, 2021 was his freshman season, and he basically burst on the scene after the first couple of games. Finished the season with 2,024 yards passing, which put him at sixth in the league, and that number had 11 touchdowns and 4 interceptions, 202 yards per game, and a efficiency rating of 142.1, which was actually fourth in the league. One thing that a lot of people had a concern about was his completion percentage that year. It was at 58, which is not, I mean, that's not bad, um, but that put him at eighth in the league. And that number, those numbers can always improve with reps and getting better in your system. Also on the ground that season, he finished seventh in the league at 61.9 yards per game, ran for 619 yards on the season and 5 touchdowns. So you're looking at a guy who can do it with his arm and do it with his legs. Obviously, the 21 TSU team was not a good team, but they made a run toward the end of the season and put together some wins and came into 22. Um, they they kind of put some things together. Came into 22, um, looking to improve on that. and his numbers kind of dropped in that season. He was he finished the season at fifth in the league in passing yards per game with 164.3. Completion percentage dipped a couple points to 56. Had two more interceptions that year, but he also threw two more touchdowns. Finished with 13 touchdowns and six interceptions, 1,807 yards on the season. Just one thing that I noticed about this season is the 22 season compared to the 21 season. The 22 season, you had only three quarterbacks throw for over 200 yards per game. And in the 21 season, you had six. So that number dropped. I'm not, I know some of it for him was kind of, teams starting to know what he was and what he was doing, and some of it was the offense um, really wasn't clicking like it probably should have. But they were able to pick up some big wins in 22. Shut out Southern, got a big win at Alcorn. Um, I think they beat Grambling that year too. So they really started to put some things together. And 23 was looking like the year for the Tigers. Um, he Andrew Body got hurt at the end, basically in the fourth quarter against Alabama A&M, which was the final game of the 22 season. They had an opportunity to go to SWAC championship if they won that game. He got hurt going in for a touchdown, got hurt. Tigers ended up losing that game and missed out on the SWAC championship. Coming into 23, a lot of people felt like this team was a championship contender team, at least for the West Division. Um, Never really came back fully from his injury. I think I think he was kind of eager to go and make some things happen, but wasn't quite 100%. Played in one game against Prairie View, had a solid game. Did throw three touchdowns, but also had three interceptions in that game. Tigers lost that game, and then he would not play again for the rest of the season as he took a medical red shirt, which led to him entering the portal on December 1st. Um, and he was highly sought after. And Bama State won the sweepstakes. And like I said, the Hornets really need a shot in the arm. When you look at this team last season overall, their offense was honestly not good. They were eighth in the league in in scoring offense. They were eighth at 20.6 points per game. Um, due to making a quarterback change in midseason. Damon Stewart kind of came on pretty strong toward the end of the season for the Hornets, and the passing game kind of took off. You also had Keyshawn Johnson, who was one of the best, if not the best, quarter receiver in the league, um, catching those passes. But the offense just needed a shot in the arm, and I think this was, like I said before, I think this was a great fit for both sides. Now, in the spring game, he threw a 70-plus yard touchdown. Had another one that was a 70-plus yard bomb that was dropped. Didn't have a lot of reps in that game, so there's still a lot to be seen in terms of seeing him with this team. Um, Looking at the Hornets, in the passing attack, man, they return a couple solid guys. Tyree Saunders is a guy who came on late in the season, finished with 16 catches, 16 catches, 283 yards, and two touchdowns. You're losing a big part of your offense in Keyshawn Johnson. He had 61 catches. The next highest was 19. So they don't have a lot of guys coming back with production. So the slate is clean for everybody. They brought in a lot of big body receivers in the portal and through recruiting. The offensive line seems to be enthusiastic, and off the field, I think he's doing the QB1 things that you want. He's buying in, and the guys are buying into him, and they want to play for him. He wants to play for them. And the relationship with the coaches seems to be there. So off the field, what you want from your QB1, he's providing. Um, on the field is where we're gonna have to wait and see. Um, we know what he can do. Um, but we don't know how he's gonna do it at Bama State. Um, that first game against North Carolina Central is gonna be a nice barometer. I expect that game to have narratives both ways, regardless of what happens in this game. If they win this game and he looks good, then there's gonna be a lot of talk about how much better he can be, or how far ahead he is than everybody else. If the Hornets don't produce, then you're going to have a lot of negative narratives. So this is a huge game um, for all parties involved. And I think that for a first, I mean, this is a guy who's basically started 22 games in his career. Um, that's a huge heap of hype to put on him that he's going to have to carry. I think he's a guy who has a great head on his shoulder, so I think he's going to be able to handle that part of it. But that's why I titled this "All Eyes on Him" because in over the summer period, you're gonna see a lot of hype coming Bama State's way. I think Bama State can contend for the East Division. I'm not quite there putting them at number one yet. Um, I just I think it's a three-way battle. I think they have the potential to get there, but I just right now I if you know me, I have to see it. I have to see it, and I expect it to be good. So I'm not saying it in that way, but I do feel like I want to see things in action. That's just the type of person that I am. So I think that this team has the potential to win the East Division and even win the SWAC championship. Like I said, I don't think that the crux of all of this needs to be heaped on the quarterback, but that's what you get when when you're a quarterback, and the eyes on you. Um, you're looking at a possibility of him coming into the season as the SWAC Offensive Player of the Year in preseason. I'm not saying that's what that is, but it's a quarterback's award, so it's not very many returning quarterbacks with are guys with names that are returning. So, I mean, Miles Crowley probably will be the front runner in that if you look at it from a quarterback perspective. I think Herb Mulligan should be that guy, but that's neither here nor there. Um, so basically, I'm saying all of this to say I'm excited for the season. I'm excited to see how he does. Like I said, he has a nice opening season slate to kind of get his feet wet. You got North Carolina Central, you got Miles and Samford in the non-conference before you get into conference play with Bethune-Cookman and then FAMU. So you're gonna know where this team is by October 5th, and that can go a multitude of ways. Like I said, there's still a lot of questions to be asked and answered for this offense. I think they have the right guy running the offense, but we just have to see it all play out. And once we do, then I feel confident in saying that he will be amongst the top quarterbacks in the league. So right now, all eyes are on him and all eyes are on them. And I think it's gonna stay that way till the season starts. So y'all buckle up and get ready. Like I said, there's gonna be a ton of talk from all sides. There's gonna be people who don't believe, and there's a lot of people who do believe. So somebody's gonna be vindicated by the time the season's over. I say don't count him out. I think that he's gonna be right there in the mix. I think his team's gonna be right there in the mix, and I'm eagerly excited. And that's where I stand right now. So with that being said, man, I'm your tour guide around the SWAC Seawell signing out, and I will catch y'all on the rebound. Our next video in this series, I don't have a name for what the series is, but our next video in this series will be on Alabama A&M and Coach Maynard. Let's talk about where he stands and where they stand. So with that being said, man, I'm your tour guide around the SWAC Seawell signing out, and I will catch y'all on the rebound.